What is up, guys? Today we have a YouTube video for everyone. It's not going to be a crazy deck. It's not going to be something wild. It's just a consistent deck that is perceived through the time, like the test of time. It's still standing. It's arguably one of the better decks right now for Players Cup 4 because tag teams are so very much a threat. Now, before I start the video, obviously thank you for clicking on today's video. I would really appreciate a like, subscribe if you're enjoying the content. I'm going to continue with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. We'll see where things go. I will stream Players Cup keys when I get back from vacation. As you can see, the setup is a little bit different. I am in Florida, visiting some family, so when I get back, we'll move from there. So, we are going to be looking at today's tried and true deck, PikaRom. Now, PikaRom has always been good since its release, and I think it will be good until the day it leaves the format. Now, PikaRom has been evolving since it came out, and you have to kind of like figure out why and how to make the deck work as we go. So today we're going to look at the deck profile and maybe a game. I don't know yet. I feel like everyone's already seen PikaRom gameplay, so we might just talk about the deck as a whole. So the start of my list is 4 Bolton, just because I don't think you can play less than 4 Bolton. It's the best start in the deck. Electrify is one of the best attacks in the game. Turn 1, turn 2, doesn't matter when you can get it off. Bolt Storm is an amazing follow-up. It's an amazing cleanup for the late game, and you almost always have these in play. You have 2 Pikachu and Zekrom in the deck because Full Blitz is a really essential attack. Either you can use Electrify to put the energies onto your Pikachu and Zekrom GX, or you can move them onto Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX, which can copy your Pikachu and Zekrom for Full Blitz, thus accelerating your strategy and getting the rest of your game plan going. Once you have 2 attackers really set up, you can set up like a 2-3-3 or like a 3-2-3 game plan prizing strategy somewhere along that line. So that's why Pikachu and Zekrom is just one of the stronger decks. You have 2 copies of Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX, which lets you copy both PikaRom and Raichu Tag Team. And that really puts it one notch above the rest of the decks that are available to you, because a lot of things in this format are not great against Psychic Weakness, and the extra 30 HP that Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX adds is kind of invaluable. Yes, you are weak to other Mewtwo's as you go, but that's kind of negligible if that becomes a one-shot war, because you can always use other attackers and don't have to actually focus on Mewtwo. Um, you have Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. This card is like your best comeback mechanic because you can use Tandem Shock if this Pokemon was on the bench and became your active during your turn. It's 80 extra damage and they're paralyzed, so an attack like this is really strong to come into the late game with, in combination with Reset Stamp, because that can really put your opponent down to a low hand size, set up for a lot of damage, and if they can't answer or move their attacker out of the active, you can kind of pivot into a position like that. Um, it's called EV Heroes, by the way. The new set is called EV Heroes with all the new Espeon cards. And then we have Tapu Koko Prism, which lets you use Dance of the Ancients to get energies onto play. Tapu Koko has been a lot less relevant recently because obviously back in the day you could use Tapu Koko Prism to basically get a turn 1 GX attack off or something like that. But Tapu Koko is a really good turn 1 to get energies onto your board, a late game way to get a second or third attacker set up if you need to, or a way to get a Bolton attack off out of nowhere to kind of clean up the game, because there might be a position where you have a ton of energies on like a Mewtwo, a ton of energies on like a PikaRom, like because you've put 6 energies there, use a Tag Bolt or something like that, and then you can go bench your Bolton, attach to the Bolton, pop your Tapu Koko Prism, get that energy onto your Bolton, retreat, and just do a ton of damage out of nowhere, get that one-shot option, because once you've used your GX attack, really, the deck kind of, like besides Tag Bolt and Lightning Ride GX, you kind of plateau out at a certain damage point. There's 2 copies of Dedede GX because you do want to be drawing cards and playing the game as you can. 1 copy of Crobat V, and 1 copy of Eldegoss to kind of play your support Pokemon. Now let's look at the rest of the deck. There's 2 Cherish Ball, 1 E-Radar, and 4 Quick Ball to kind of search for all the pieces in the deck to find what you need to find and set up your board accordingly. The 1 Electromagnetic Radar seems a little bit strange, but the 1 Electromagnetic Radar does allow you to fetch one of the Tag Team GXs, or both if you want to, plus Dedenne, so it kind of gets everything you need all at once. There's 4 copies of Crushing Hammer and 4 copies of Switch because those are super essential. And then you have also 2 copies of Reset Stamp as well as 1 copy of Chaotic Swell. There is Chaotic Swell, I think you could play a 1 of or a 0 of. It's just really good against decks like that are Fire based or Rapid Strike or Shifu to prevent them from getting that little bit of extra damage. Because, and I guess like one of the other more troubling stadiums is Power Plant, which that hasn't really been seen as much recently. But yeah. with 3 copies of Boss's Orders, and in tandem with Eldegoss, you kind of have both of those like working in your favor to get what you need to get going. Because late game you want to start bossing stuff and killing stuff. There's 4 copies of Marnie because turn 1 you can go second, get a Bolt Hunt going, accelerate 2 energies, and Marnie all in the same turn. You've effectively set your opponent back a couple of cards if their setup on turn 1 wasn't the best because they can't play a support on turn 1. So maybe they have to put a Dedenne down. Maybe they have to do something else on top of that. There's 4 copies of Professor's Research. Obviously, drawing cards in the Pokemon trading card game is one of the best things available to you, so we obviously want to capitalize on that. There's 2 copies of Air Balloon and 2 copies of Stealthy Hood. Now, Stealthy Hood is the latest addition to the deck because Rapid Striker Shifu decks, like the one that Azul Garcia Griego and the one that I posted on my own channel, won with, have Mimikyu in their lists, so that really makes it so it becomes harder and harder to kind of operate under normal circumstances. So having a copy of Stealthy Hood and a potential second really lets you get around these cards and put you back into a commanding position in a lot of these metagames. So it's very strong. So I think PikaRom definitely can hold its own in the meta. There's 3 speed energies as well as 10 lightning energies. So overall, the deck has all of those cards going for it. As far as overall matchups go, you have a pretty favored. Like I think the deck doesn't have like any like overwhelmingly favorable matchups or like overwhelmingly negative matchups. But you can win any matchup simply with the combination of Tandem Shock into Reset Stamp, as we've seen people doing well with the deck. It's like one of those decks that, like, no matter how much you try, you can't deal with Garb plus N. You can't deal with Tandem Shock plus Reset Stamp in the same capacity you could deal with a lot of other decks. So it's like one of those things that the deck is always good. So let's jump into a game while we're here. Shun, 522, 5441. That's a lot of numbers. Okay. So PikaRom obviously wants to go second. It's one of the few decks in the format that really excels at going second, especially with playing 4 Boltund. You don't have that many bad starters in the deck. Boltund is the most ideal starter as far as things go. I think playing less than 4 Boltund is really hard to justify just because of how good the card is. Most decks want to naturally go first, so our opponent has chosen to go first. We don't have a Marnie to make like the creme de la creme of this hand go off, but we don't have a target either to put our energies onto. So we have 2 options to start this game. We're going to go Air Balloon attach active and hammer whatever energy he puts into play. And then we're probably going to Dedenne because we only have 2 Dedenne in the deck, but we have 4 copies of Research. And we can also capitalize the odds of finding a maximize the odds of us finding a Marnie, because Marnie on turn 1 is pretty insane when you get to put all the energy you want into play. Our opponent is playing a Victini VMAX deck, so they're going to be kind of setting up behind this and going for the turn 2 knockout on our Boltund. If they find energies, it's almost guaranteed that Boltund goes down. But the one benefit we have is Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team does not take a lot of damage from the Victini deck. It does take 100, so unless they're playing their own copies of Mewtwo, we're okay. So we could play it safe and just grab Pikachu and Zekrom. And if we grab Pikachu and Zekrom and accelerate to that, we're forcing them to show their hand first, and if they have a Mewtwo, then we can play off the back of that. If they don't have a Mewtwo in their deck and there's just straight Victini deck, we can also play off the back of that. Alright, Crushing Hammer to start our turn. Attach, Air Balloon, and let's go ahead and Dedenne. Dedenne also is not susceptible to Victini VMAX, so it's not like really annoying to put it down by it for any means. Alright, we're going to go ahead and Crushing Hammer. We do get heads. I'm going to drop the Eldegoss. I don't want to put the Crobat down just because I want to not put too many V Pokemon into play. And I'm going to guarantee a supporter by just using Research this turn. Now this is pretty nutty, so we get to have PikaRom as well. And let's go ahead and accelerate with Electrify onto our Pikachu and Zekrom. I do see Tapu Koko Prism is still in the deck, so we can use that onto a future turn. Now next turn, we do have Pikachu and Zekrom, but we don't have a target to put our energies onto. So we do plan on probably Marnieing in the coming turn, along with a full Blitz. So this definitely puts our opponent's hand size down low. We do have the Chaotic Swell in play, so he's going to use the Mars Shadow probably to pop it. The Hammer was a heads, which was really nice. So we'll see where it goes. He does start with the Scrapper and the VMAX. So we're hoping he doesn't have Welder. If he doesn't have Welder and I get to Electrify one more time, that would be pretty insane. But, okay, he's just going to boss Eldegoss, so maybe his hand's just not good. His hand does not seem good at all, actually. So, let's go ahead and Quick Ball away Boltund. Let's go ahead and get Tapu Koko and Dance of the Ancients here. Attach active and Dedenne the hand. If I find a Mewtwo here, I can just full blitz onto Mewtwo. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to burn this energy. I can just go Cherish Ball for Mewtwo, giving ourselves options. Switch and go ahead and full blitz. So now we have 2 fully powered up attackers, 3 fully powered up attackers actually. We have 9 energy on the board, which means Bolton could effectively one-shot anything in his deck with a 10th energy. With a 10th energy, I'm actually one-shotting Victini V, which is really hard to do. Or VMAX, sorry, is really hard to do. I have the Raichu and Raichu in hand. No way to discard it at the current moment, but I could just hold it until a bench spot opens up, theoretically, and I don't think he can one-shot our Pikachu and Zekrom in any world. So we're in a really good spot. Now, the only thing that's weird about my list that other lists do not, like, that is different from other lists is I don't play any energy switching cards. I don't play any way to move energy from point A to point B. So whatever energy I accelerate onto the board is going to stay in those locations. Heatran, okay. He got a Welder, he got a Marnie, or not Welder, he got a Welder, he got a Heatran into play, and now I think he's debating what to do. I mean, this 100 damage that comes in from Victini VMAX seems fine to me, but again, I'm not this guy, so I don't know. I mean, in my mind, I'm probably going to start putting all this energies onto Mewtwo, and look for GX attack next turn, or something like that, I don't know. Or I could spread my energies out and play for Bolton taking 2 knockouts, or Bolton into Mewtwo. So Quick Ball comes through. We're looking to see what happens. He's grabbing Reshizard, which I don't know if you should put that into play, because now that gives me 6 prizes to take as I'm watching. Like, I can already see the 6 prizes that I want to take. So Spreading Flames comes out. Now, if we get a boss off the top of the deck, we have no boss in the discard. So we have 3 boss in a 19 card deck. That's fine. Let's Crushing Hammer to start. Okay, we got that. I'm going to keep the last energy in the deck because I want to be able to put it onto a Boltund, I think. Also, I can accelerate here. Let's full blitz. I'm going to put the final energy into the active because now I can go Tag Bolt. I can't end the game with a Tag Bolt. Okay, now I can end the game with a Tag Bolt. He evolved to Victini VMAX for absolutely no reason. I think that was a gigantic mistake because now I can literally just go boom and boom and end the game. 6 prizes, 1 turn. PikaRom has not changed. So that's going to be the YouTube video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you for another video. So hopefully you enjoyed PikaRom. It hasn't changed much at all, but Pika is Pika. Peace out.